we've got the latest offerings from Flo. We'll have the papers in just a moment. And business from Kate, who's joining us here in a second. She's starting, in fact, with a look into the future of travel, or what some people, anyway, hope it will look like. This is the super fast Hyperloop transportation system. I've got that right, haven't I? Hyperloop transportation system.
That's exactly it, Stuart. And we're learning more and more about this interesting-looking system. The idea is to use magnetic levitating technology to whisk passengers and cargo in pods through low-pressure tubes. All this at speeds of up to 750 miles or 1,200 kilometres per hour. Now, 2 California-based companies are competing to develop similar technology. One is set to give its first public demonstration later on Wednesday. Catherine Clifford has more.
Travel in a tube at almost supersonic speeds. The Hyperloop would whisk cargo and passengers from one destination to another in pods within depressurized tubes at speeds of around 1,200 kilometers an hour.
It's not about getting somewhere, it's about being somewhere. We're not trying to optimize the transportation experience, we're trying to eliminate it.
A pipe dream now one step closer to reality. The Hyperloop took seed in the mind of Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla Motors and SpaceX. In 2013, he published his vision of the futuristic system in a paper, calling on innovators to build it. Hyperloop One is one of the startups that took up the challenge. This Wednesday, they're demonstrating what they've achieved so far in the desert outside Las Vegas. And they plan to carry out a full-scale test by the end of 2016. The company also just announced it's raised $80 million in new funding from a range of investors, including France's SNCF. They say the challenge is not so much in building the technology, but in making it affordable.
We could build Hyperloop today, but it would be very expensive. We want to deliver all the value that Hyperloop can deliver, the safe, the efficient, the on-demand, the fast, but we want to deliver it at a cost basis that is absolutely transformative.
But Hyperloop One has competition. Last month, rival crowdsourced company Hyperloop Transportation Technologies signed an agreement with the Slovakian government, agreeing to build a Hyperloop connecting Slovenia with Austria and Hungary.
I've come up with a major problem there. There's no time for the in-flight meal, is there?
A real pity, Stuart.
I know. Markets, Kate.
Moving on to the markets, yes. Asian trade fairly muted this Wednesday. The major indices crossed back and forth over the flat line throughout the session. You can see just the Shanghai Composite finishing slightly in the green there. Takata shares recovered slightly ahead of its earnings report. The Japanese manufacturer tumbled at the beginning of the week on a report that some 20 million more airbags would be recalled because of possible defaults. European markets with a fairly flat open. We're seeing the French rail equipment maker Alstom reporting a 7% rise in sales. It swung to a €3 billion net profit for the year after recording more than €700 million in losses the previous year. Its shares up about 3% in the early moments of trading there. Turning to some of the day's other business headlines now. Saudi Arabia's state oil giant is planning to raise production this year, despite a slump in global prices. This as it prepares for what could be the world's largest ever stock listing. Aramco is thought to be valued at over $2 trillion. Last weekend, the kingdom replaced its long-serving oil minister as it tries to reduce its dependence on oil revenue and diversify its economy. Walt Disney posted disappointing quarterly earnings, sending shares down 6% in after-hours trading. Blockbuster hits like Star Wars helped drive revenue up to just under $13 billion. But cable subscribers for the group's sports channel ESPN declined, and it had to pay a charge to cancel its struggling Infinity video game line. And a U.S. judge has blocked a planned $6 billion merger between Staples and Office Depot. The office supplies giants said they would not appeal the ruling and would call off their negotiations. Regulators had argued the deal would impair competition. It marks the second time the Federal Trade Commission has successfully blocked a merger between 2 rival companies.
Now, finally, one of the world's best-known beers is undergoing a rather patriotic rebranding, Kate.
Yeah, we're talking about Budweiser. It's going to be taking off that very well-known name from its beer cans and bottles, and it's going to be calling itself America. Now, it's a temporary change designed to tap into patriotic spirit with the Olympic Games coming up this summer and the presidential election in November. Parent company Anheuser-Busch InBev has redesigned its labels in the past to feature things like the American flag or the Statue of Liberty. This summer promotion coming at a rather good time for the beer industry. Sales typically spike between the end of May and beginning of September, Stuart.
That's ridiculous.
A pint of America. It sounds great.
Yeah, I can have a can of France for lunch. No, it just doesn't work. Sorry, Budweiser. Good try. Thank you, Kate.